Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're tackling a frustration I know pretty much all of us have dealt with at some point. You know the feeling, you buy a brand new PC or maybe you just do a fresh Windows update and suddenly your system just feels sluggish? Honestly, it's like Windows 11 is a hiker trying to climb a mountain, but they're carrying a backpack completely stuffed with heavy bricks. Well, today we're going to unpack that luggage. We're going to dive into exactly why Windows 11 is so heavy, and more importantly, we'll walk through the exact steps to strip away all that dead weight so your computer can run as smoothly as it was actually designed to. Okay, let's just quickly glance at our roadmap for today. We'll start with why Windows 11 is so slow, then move into removing bloatware and apps, stopping hidden background services, tweaking your power and visuals, and finally, fixing PC thermal throttling. All right, Section 1. Why is Windows 11 so slow? Let's talk about that invisible luggage.
Look, I want to validate your frustration right out of the gate here. If your PC takes absolutely forever to start, if your apps are taking 10 seconds to open, or if the whole system just kind of feels heavy, it is not your imagination. Windows 11 ships with a massive amount of extra stuff just running silently in the background. As the OS evolves to include more agentic features, like AI assistants and automated tasks, plus that constant background connectivity, the baseline requirements just shoot up. And older or lower-end hardware simply struggles to keep up with this invisible load.
And this really highlights the gap between our expectations and reality, right? You expect lightning-fast boot times, but the reality is that default features, like leaving Microsoft Teams running or having that widgets board constantly updating, can easily add up to a full gigabyte of memory overhead right out of the box. If you're running a lower-end system, especially a laptop with only 8 gigs of RAM, those background features act like a massive bottleneck. They leave almost no memory for the actual work you're trying to do. Moving right along to Section 2, removing bloatware and apps. Time to unpack some of those bricks. It's incredibly empowering to take control back from the manufacturer. Whether it's annoying third-party adware that came pre-installed on your laptop or Microsoft's own bundled software, like Xbox consoles you don't use, maps, or placeholder apps, these programs literally just sit there eating up your CPU time and memory. But by manually stripping out this bloatware, you free up processing power and stop these apps from auto-launching in the background. And the best part? You don't need some fancy, risky third-party de-bloater tool that might break your core updates. You literally just go right into the Apps and Features window in your standard Windows settings, scroll through your installed programs, and instantly reduce background activity by uninstalling the things you never touch. It's that easy. Which brings us to Section 3, stopping hidden background services. These are the silent resource drains. So Windows actually runs dozens of services independently of whether you've even logged in. For instance, telemetry is constantly collecting and sending your user data to Microsoft. Windows error reporting is always lurking, waiting to send crash reports. But if you press the Windows key plus R and type services.msc, you'll open the Services Manager, and right there you can safely disable these specific silent offenders. Tests have shown that targeting these unused services can potentially free up over 600 megabytes of RAM, lower your idle CPU usage, and actually shave several seconds off your boot time. Okay, Section 4, tweaking power and visuals. Because Windows 11 is pretty, but man, it is heavy. You will honestly be amazed at how fast Windows snap open when you strip away these graphical bricks from your system's backpack. Dynamic animations for opening and closing apps, the sleep transparency effects on your taskbar, those subtle drop shadows, every single one of these relies on your system's processing power and memory. When you're trying to squeeze every drop of speed out of your PC, turning these off is basically the easiest win you can get. Finding this menu is a breeze, too. Just search for Advanced System Settings right in your Start menu. Click the Settings button under the Advanced tab, and you'll see a window where you can just check a box that says Adjust for Best Performance. One single click toggles all of those resource-heavy visual effects off, giving you a remarkably snappier experience, especially if you're doing some heavy multitasking. Now, alongside those visual tweaks, we really have to talk about power. Windows constantly balances energy use with performance. Efficiency mode is fantastic for laptop batteries. It lowers an app's priority to save power. But if you're plugged into the wall and you want maximum speed, you need to change your power settings to Best Performance. It's an instant boost. It overrides those restrictive energy-saving modes, forcing your CPU to stay alert and completely eliminating the micro-latency that happens when your processor tries to wake up from a low-power sleep state. Finally, let's dig into Section 5, fixing PC thermal throttling. We're looking at the physical core now. If you've uninstalled the bloatware, you've tweaked your settings, and your PC is still lagging, especially if it sounds like a jet engine with loud fan noises, your computer's probably suffocating. Thermal throttling is actually a protective mechanism. When the physical processor gets too hot, Windows forces it to slow down so it doesn't literally melt. Your PC is purposely slowing itself down just to survive the heat. Okay, let's do a quick diagnostic test, because you can check this right now. Open up Task Manager and click over to the Performance tab. Your CPU has a base speed. Let's say, for example, it's 2.3 GHz. If you open a few heavy programs and notice your current speed plummets down to something crazy like 0.43 GHz while your utilization is completely maxed out, yeah, you've just caught thermal throttling red-handed. Your system desperately wants to work fast, but the heat is holding it hostage. And we can even take this a step further using the Resource Monitor, which is basically Task Manager on steroids. You can use this incredibly detailed view to verify exactly which applications, modules, or hidden services are forcing your processor to work so hard in the first place. It's super helpful for figuring out if a rogue background process is spiking your CPU and generating all that heat before the throttling even kicks in.
So how do we actually fix this physical issue? Well, it might be time to grab a screwdriver. Open up your PC case and inspect your cooling fans. Make sure they are actually spinning, and ideally, you should have at least two. If you've got a water cooler, listen for a humming pump. But honestly, the most common culprit is just old, crusty thermal paste between your cooler and your CPU. When it gets dry and hard, it completely stops transferring heat. Replacing it with fresh paste, or even better, a phase change material for better longevity, can literally resurrect a sluggish computer. And hey, don't forget to update your CPU drivers straight from the manufacturer while you're at it.
Well, we have definitely covered a lot of ground today, from surface-level bloatware and apps down to those sneaky telemetry services, through the visual settings, and all the way to the literal thermal paste on your CPU. But the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that you are in full control of your machine's performance. You do not have to settle for a lagging, heavy system. So I'll leave you with this question. Which brick are you going to unpack from your PC's backpack right now? Open up that Task Manager and go take your computer speed back.